Alana, Jaylo,
Yes.
you cannot turn off your fire detector.
I cannot. I'm way too short to reach it.
I put the chair directly under it.
Yes.
And after you got down, because I am a blind guy, I said, well, let me just make sure and get on the chair myself. And I could easily touch it.
Yeah.
But then you got back on the chair with your shoes on. And I made sure that you lifted your arm the right way. And you were still unable to hit it.
Yeah. I suppose what I could do is I would have to wear, higher shoes or something.
I would not recommend that.
But I don't want to do that because I could easily fall on those things.
Yes.
Off of those things.
And crack your head open.
Yeah, I think I would have to have you do it because I'm not 6 feet tall.
I'm dreading getting the call at 3 a.m. in the morning saying, "Hi, Bobs, could you come over? The fire alarm's going off, okay?"
Ugh. Yeah, well, I know what to do to avoid it though.
That's good.
So I'm not planning on having you come over at 3 in the morning. That would be very, very bad.
You looked for your labeling materials this morning and could not find them.
I'm sure they're somewhere. I just don't want to spend half an hour trying to find it, just so I can. I'll do it later, but there are other things I want to attend to before I do that. So.
That's good.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yes.
So.
We started listening to the Clubhouse Town Hall.
Yes.
And I'm a big fan, as you know, but I was getting a little bit annoyed with how long they were going before the questions.
I know. And I know they had a special guest on, because it was the first time she was on, and she was explaining the highlights, but seemed like it took forever, and I didn't know half of the jargon that they were talking about.
And they started a couple minutes late, too.
Oh, did they?
They started at 9:03, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a difference.
Yes. Because I tried to go in at 9 and 9:01,
yeah.
and it wouldn't let me in the room.
Right. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to listen to the whole thing, because most of it is comprised of questions from people.
I like that, but I understand if you're not a regular user, it could get annoying.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose if I was, that would be more interesting, but I'm not.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not,
Yes. We should do a virtual date, not this week, but maybe the following week.
Uh-oh.
If that's okay with you, babes.
Maybe, but I'm not going to be on there for 8 hours.
Let's make it 9.
No! It's a little too obsessive, Philip.
I don't think so, babes.
Well, if you wanted to do that, be on there for 9 hours, and I understand that, but I do not want to be on there for 9 hours.
Perhaps we could pair it with a movie.
Possibly. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, possibly.
Yes, Joe. Whoa.
Yes.
During the town hall, you asked the question, why aren't the Paralympics broadcast anywhere?
Yeah, because the NHL, now that I know it's about hockey, they were talking about that, and that's, hockey has been a part of the Olympics, I believe. Or the Stanley Cups. The Stanley Cup has.
The Stanley Cup is I believe, the Super Bowl equivalent in hockey.
Yes, Stanley Cup has, I think, has been a part of it. Well,
you win the Stanley Cup for the year if you're the best team in the NHL.
Yeah. But then I thought, because there's so many different types of sports that are a part of the Olympics, why don't they also do a broadcast of the Paralympics? Because there are athletes that happen to be disabled, and they work so hard to get to the Paralympics, and I think it would be really cool to watch that.
I feel, and this is going to be controversial, the whole social justice movement, it pretends to include people with disabilities, but it doesn't really.
Yeah, that I would agree. I don't like the social justice movement anyway, but
I think it has good and negative qualities.
I think all they do is they put people into small groups and they don't include everybody, and their idea of equity is not really equal.
There's a big aspect of that, but I don't feel like it's that beneficial to the disabled community. And I feel oftentimes we still get looked over, you know.
I feel that it's more, I mean, not just for the disability communities, but I feel that that's why they just seem more, the social justice movements have seemed more divisive than...
But we're focusing on disability because of this, right?
Yeah.
So the social justice movement doesn't really care that much about people with disabilities.
I don't think so either.
The conservative movement doesn't either. The idea of like the 90s liberal, kind of does a little bit, but for the most part, we're like the rejected class of people, it seems like.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because...
I just realized, babes,
what?
that the one movement I said kind of does is the one that I kind of fall into. Right? The idea of the stereotypical 90s liberal, which is when I became more politically aware and am liberal. I realized that that's a category I said kind of cares about the disabled world.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Very interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting. I can't comment on so I honestly cannot comment on conservatism and disability issues because I think that either whatever side you're on, I think you're right. They don't really discuss that area, mm-hmm. So I can't really comment on that. I think that there is a lot of PC stuff that's surrounded that the disability that people that work in the disability community have been doing lately, and I don't like that at all. A lot of people don't want to talk about how do I say it? They don't want to address it, if that makes any sense.
They don't want to address disability?
Well, I mean, not address it, but, in certain organizations, they don't want to talk about the word blind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they don't want to tell the truth about it. And it's like, what's wrong about that? I mean,
they want to say sightless.
Human guide,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what is so wrong about talking about the truth about disability? Like, whether it's blindness, deafness, people in wheelchairs, quadriplegic.
It's like we only get to have these conversations within our own community. If you expand it any further, you have to dumb it down a lot.
And then you also have people with severe TBIs.
Mm-hmm.
And we are just, scratching the surface of it, but nobody wants to talk about it. And also people with mental disorders.
Outside of those communities.
It
feels like no one does.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ones that don't have visual disabilities. It's all mental or whatever.
Well, it feels like there's this divide.
Mm-hmm.
And that's easy for me to say as a blind person, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I don't know. I shouldn't say of course, but it feels like each person kind of feels like they're an outlaw on society for whatever reason, right?
Uh-huh.
So, of course, I'm going to say, well, it feels like we're the excluded members of the disabled community.
Uh-huh.
Like everybody prefers deaf people or people who live with autism.
Uh-huh.
But that's also my perception.
That is my perception too, and I could be completely wrong about it. Although I've mentioned that I feel like the blind community could be one of the most misunderstood disabilities.
Yeah, so let's get to something that bothers me.
Okay.
Why is it deaf blind instead of blind deaf?
I know. Or why is it just blind and deaf?
Because somebody is blind and deaf. And B comes before D in the alphabet, which I know is a weird, argument.
I understand that. Why does deaf come first before blind? I mean, what's wrong with blind being first and deaf being second? That's a very good question.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think about it until you mentioned it just now. You're right. What is it?
Yeah, and people will always correct you with that. No, it's actually deaf-blind. And it's like, really?
Who cares? I certainly don't care which comes first.
Mm-hmm.
They're both blind and deaf.
Now, I'm sure you could talk to a deaf person who will say, well, blind people get all the, shine in the disabled world.
I don't believe that.
I believe that.
Well, I mean...
And I believe that I could be... Well, I don't know because I'm not part of that world, really.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is I believe that I could be biased based on my own life experience.
Right.
But that is my experience, though.
Yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Let me ask you a bizarre question.
Okay.
You know a lot of conservative people.
Yes, I do.
That was not the question, though.
Okay, what is it?
You spent time at conservative homes of people who are not your family.
Right, exactly.
And I'm wondering, did you feel that disability was a barrier in those situations?
The ones that were actually more understanding, no. But I did notice that there are people that really don't understand it, even if they were conservative or liberal, and they're like, somebody commented to me years ago, oh yeah, I really like you because, you're so different and you're differently abled. And I'm like, who says that?
Sighted people.
Sighted people that are very ignorant. And whether it doesn't matter what political, where you are politically, it's on both sides of the coin. People that are more ignorant will make stupid comments like that.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? It doesn't even matter. It's like, some people are just more ignorant than others, and other people are like, you know what, I understand. I can pick up on things.
It always amazes me when somebody will come up and say, oh, I used to have a dog who was blind.
You know what? Someone talked to me about that. I won't mention his name. But remember when I was taking the cooking class?
Yes.
One of the guys actually told me, and he didn't mention it just because I was blind, but he was saying that he has a dog that is blind, and that he has to make a lot of noise for him to hear where he is. And I thought, that's interesting.
There's a difference between bringing it up like that or going up to somebody.
Okay, no one has ever gone up to me and said, oh, I had a dog that was blind.
Multiple times that's happened to me.
Well, one thing that happened to me that I thought was good was when I first moved to Portland. I may have mentioned it here, I don't know. But there was a young mom that came up to me and said, I noticed that you're blind. It's possible that my son might become blind. We don't know yet. He was still a baby at the time.
Okay.
And I said, is there anything that you could tell me that would help? I said, well, I said, there are a lot of resources. There's also the Commission for the Blind. And I think you should start there because, I just moved there, so I didn't know what else was available. And I said, I think you should start there early and really get some tips to help in getting resources for your son if it turns out that he does have some problems with his vision. I
have very mixed feelings about that because on one hand, I feel like I'm a good resource for stuff like that because, I'm part of the community.
Yes. Well, I was trying to help, right?
Right. But here's my take on it, though. But then if you're approaching a random stranger just because you see that they have the cane, you don't know if they're having a bad day. You also don't know if their techniques would be the best for your kid.
True.
So I don't know where I fall on something like that. And I also feel too, with me, I'd want to say more than just contact one agency. I'd want to have a real nuanced discussion with the person that could last for about an hour. And it would really be more of me lecturing them because I know about, the blindness world.
Well, remember, I just moved there.
No, but that's why I'm saying
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about people coming up to blind people and asking them questions like that. I do think it's a good thing, but it could get a little bit dicey as well.
Well, I wasn't to me, I wasn't the type of person I didn't feel like I was the type of person to lecture her on cane skills because if she doesn't know what that is.
Right, but you might want to lecture her on this is how you get the services you need. This is where you go. This is how you advocate, that type of thing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's more my jam.
But
Like, I'd ask some questions, but then my follow-ups would be a little bit verbose.
Right, but I mean, I don't even know what I was doing. I think I was out doing something, but I think I just wanted to make it quick because I didn't know this woman, and for all I know, she could have just moved there with her son. I don't know.
Did I ever tell you, babes, a story about when I was living in Colorado and this person approached me?
No.
With similar questions. I can't remember if I said it here. I don't think so.
No, I don't think you may not have.
Okay. So, I used to live across the street from a Dollar Tree, which is like a 99-cent store.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yes.
I like going to Dollar Tree sometimes.
Okay. I go in there, I'm shopping, somebody approaches me and says, hey, my stepson is blind and my wife is next door. Will you walk over to me and, tell us about resources? Okay. So I'm like, okay, right. I guess, bro. Why not? You got me on a good day.
Yeah.
I walk over to the restaurant and they introduce me. And then I just say, well, you should check out this resource. And then the husband is like, well, he has a drug problem. And then him and the wife start getting in a debate over whether or not they should have told me about the drug problem. And I get up from the table and leave.
While they're arguing?
Yes.
Like, okay, I'm going to go now.
This is about 2008. So it was when I'm really in my NFB militant stance. This is before I completely had my disillusion.
Right. Wow. Well, I mean, why would he mention that? Does it have anything to do with blindness?
I don't know, babes.
Maybe he just wants someone to, oh, by the way, yeah.
Maybe he wanted me to buy some product off of his son. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Maybe he wanted extra sympathy.
I don't know, babes.
That's odd. That's very odd.
Yeah, it is weird. Now we're going on a tangent, but...
Well, you're going on a tangent, I'm not.
Feeling like you have to be a teacher and a representative of blindness is a very weird thing.
Right. Yes. And there's, I mean... I remember... Did I tell you what happened when I first went to St. Louis and it was the first night I was there?
You may have, but refresh my memory.
So I walked into the church that my friend goes to because she wanted me to go with her. And
you're a good Christian.
Hold on,
okay, go ahead.
Would you stop,
yes,
please? I'm actually trying to tell a story.
I know, go ahead.
And this guy who attends that same church was... I forgot. I don't know if I remember if he made a comment or something, but she was very irritated. Well, she kept it. She kept cool, but she was kind of like, oh, just because my friend is blind, she's very independent, and this guy was clearly very ignorant. Mm-hmm. I think he saw me and made a noise like, oh, like, oh, you poor thing, and she commented to me, she's like, yeah, he's a little bit, not quite there. I said, yeah, I could tell.
Yes.
I mean, there's ignorant people all over the place. Like, one time, I may not mention this here, and then after I mention this, we can move on, but we were walking, when my mom was visiting, this was like, this is way back. It was probably like towards the end of last year.
That's not way back, but keep going.
Well, you know what I mean. It was months ago, okay? Months ago.
Oh, it's not like it's 10 years ago.
Months ago.
I just gave a story from 2008, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Really?
Babes. Go ahead, babes. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay. You sure?
Yes.
So clearly this person was ignorant. We were walking to, I think it might have been Fred Meyer. And this woman kind of sees us and she's like, oh, that is so great that she has somebody with her, and not even realizing that that's my mom. And I'm like, wow, they're just not thinking.
I don't know, babes.
I don't know.
One place where I have no tolerance for it and I will just walk away from people is when I'm on the dance floor.
Okay.
Because I've had people want to get into a Q&A with me about blindness when I'm dancing. And I'm just like, bro, this ain't the time or place.
Yeah, I totally understand that. It's like, come on, I want to have fun. I'm dancing here. Could you talk about this later? Or yeah. People just ask at the most inopportune times.
That's the one thing I am going to miss about the pandemic is I didn't have people approaching me all the time about blindness.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad you didn't die, but...
but could you please pick a better time to ask?
Yes.
Not when I'm dancing and moving.
Yes.
Away from you.
Yes. Speaking of dancing, babes.
Yes.
I would have loved to have taken you to see Mark Bouchard live.
I know.
That's not the way life works sometimes, though.
No. But we will say this. We were listening to his set yesterday from 3 to 4.
On KBOO, which was simulcasting the Blues Festival.
It was so good. I mean, it would have been a lot better if we were able to see him live, but it was really good. We danced pretty much the whole time. I think we sat for like a few minutes. Mm-hmm. But then we pretty much danced for the whole entire time. The whole set was great, and I liked how they segued into their other songs, and how they sampled other things like Marvin Gaye, James Brown. You could clearly hear his influences. And then the very last song he did was an Otis Redding classic. And that was like one of my favorite songs from him.
It was a very, very similar set to the one he did in 2018, yes. But it was still a lot of fun. And you could tell that they had worked on the sound, meaning the KBOO engineers from the day before. Because it sounded much better than the Samantha Fish
And you
set.
could hear the audience. I mean, the audience was really getting into it. Mm-hmm. Before that, we were dancing to a band, a Zydeco band, that I believe they were from, their roots were from Louisiana. And that was a lot of fun. But the Mark Richard was the one I was looking forward to. And,
me too.
The background singers were great, and the band was, and he even said, and what did he say towards the end? He
said, I want everybody to know this is the second time I've played with these gentlemen. And I had thought when he said, I want everybody to know this is the second time, he was going to say that I've been at the Blues Fest.
But the fact that this is the second time that he's played with these guys, I mean, you would never have known that.
No, they were great. I would have thought that they'd been playing together for years.
For years, yes. They were so good. I mean, everybody was good. The singers were good. The band was good. Everything was just fantastic. And he sounded better than ever. I mean, really.
It was great.
It was great, yeah.
Yes.
And he sang one of my favorite songs, A Lonely Night. I think it's called A Lonely Night in Georgia.
Yes, that's a great song. It's a lonely night in Georgia, and everything that I do reminds me of being with you.
Yeah, that reminds me of you so much because you've played me Mark Bouchard stuff a lot, and we've danced to his stuff a lot. And
I believe I'm the one who introduced you to his music.
You have. Mm-hmm. Not just him, but Leon Bridges and...
Yes. And, so many others.
Polyrhythmics.
Duran Jones.
The
Polyrhythmics.
Yeah. Just as much as I... What?
No, keep going.
Just as much as I've introduced you to things. Oh, yeah, you introduced me to Samantha Fish.
Yes. I remembered something. So, yesterday we do this, and we stopped, and I was thinking there's something I forgot to talk about. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I remembered what it was, and I didn't want this going by. I don't think I brought this up yesterday.
Okay.
But if I did, it still bears repeating. The Gift of Gab died.
Yeah, and I said, who is that? I don't know who that is, but you explained to me that he was a rapper.
He was part of this duo called Blackalicious. Mm-hmm. And I first heard them when I moved to Kona in 2003. They had a couple albums, but the one that I really resonated with was called Blazing Arrow. Mm-hmm. Just phenomenal album from so many good tracks on it from beginning to end pretty much. And, I'd listened to their other stuff and some of it wasn't that great, but a lot of it was. I almost saw Blackalicious in concert in 2016, but it was one of those things to where the venue was a little bit far away, so I didn't go. And I was listening to BBC Six yesterday morning. Mm-hmm. They announced that Gift of Gab died, and they just played a song that he had done a couple years previously, or prior rather. Mm-hmm. So it was really sad to hear about his death. Apparently it happened on June 18th.
Wow.
I don't think we talked about that yesterday here.
But he had some health issues, right? And he's
kidney problems, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Did we mention that yesterday?
No.
Okay, good.
No, because I didn't know who he was, and you explained to me, and I'm like, okay.
I have a friend who actually saw Black Alicious perform in 2002 and said that they were really, really good.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And you know this person.
Okay.
Yes. Local guy.
Oh, okay.
Yes, who works for the government.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I know what that is.
Yes. But anyways, the Blues Fest was great last night.
Wow.
Yes.
Huh.
It would have been better to see them live. Hopefully next year they'll come. Hopefully next year it'll be back in full force, and Mark Bouchard will be there again. It's so crazy, babes. I was thinking, like, the two artists from the Blues Fest that I absolutely want to see again are Mark Bouchard and Samantha Fish, and of course they're playing the year that I can't go.
Yeah, but I mean, hearing them is better than nothing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even if you could see them, and it's a weird year. It's still kind of a weird year. Mm-hmm. Not quite as weird as last year, but everybody, people are still getting back into going out more and getting into the swing of things again. So, understandably so, it wouldn't still be the same.
No.
But they were really good.
They were.
Yes.
Yes.
They were.
Yes, Jill. Whoa.
Yes.
Yes. We also had dinner last night with the leftovers. How did you feel about that?
It was really good. And I introduced you to another band called the Stray Cats.
That was really good. They're kind of like 80s rockabilly.
Rockabilly.
Yes.
Yeah, I like them a lot. And I think they're I think they're underestimated, honestly. I only heard, like, out of the set that I let you listen to, I only heard 2 songs on the radio. Mm. And the one who introduced me to the Stray Cats was my former babysitter.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, good.
And I thought, I like the Stray Cats. They're a really good band. Yeah, I like the Stray Cats ever since I was little. But like I said, I've only heard 2 songs on the radio. But yes, it's definitely a 80s rockabilly, but it sounds so good.
I enjoyed their version of 16 Candles.
I did too.
Mm-hmm.
I did too. It was very good.
Yes.
I mean, it shows they've got some, the songs that they did play, they got some soul. And then I put on the Cherry Poppin' Daddies, who were popular in the late 90s, but I don't think they were around for too long.
No, they had 1 or 2 hits on MTV.
Yeah.
And that was about it. But you know what? I'm going to have to listen to more of them because I like their sound.
I do too. It sounds very 20s.
Yeah. And it was one of those things, like, I've always known that, but as a kid, I didn't really appreciate it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You know what they kind of remind me of a little bit?
Tell me.
In some ways, the Brian Setzer Orchestra.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
They remind me of the Brian Setzer Orchestra, and I only remember one big song that they had on the radio. But I like their sound too.
I was actually thinking that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Brian Setzer Orchestra.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the name Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
I remember when I heard that, someone's like, yeah, their name is actually the Cherry Poppin' Daddies. I'm like, well, but I noticed something.
Tell me.
That when I've asked the DOT to play a band, sometimes they won't say the.
I know.
Or like if I said something like the Beach Boys, they'll say playing Beach Boys. Mm-hmm. I'm like, why can't you say the? It's the. The one word you keep forgetting. The.
Yes. I have thought just entered my mind.
Uh-oh.
You know how language is always changing?
Yeah.
Let's say in the next 5 years, people decide that the is a curse word. So it's no longer allowed on TV or the radio.
Yeah, it's a little bit strange.
Because all that stuff is kind of arbitrary anyway. So what would our society turn into if that became the case?
That would be ridiculous.
Yes.
Because if you're labeling something like, or if you're looking for something, can you bring me the pencil?
Yeah. Can you bring me bleep pencil?
I doubt that, Bubs. Because the is a very important word.
It's a thought exercise, babes. I don't actually think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be very strange. Like, oh, you can't say the.
Mm-hmm.
We have to bleep you out of there.
Yes.
The.
Yes, yes, yes.
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 The burgers. Or you can't say the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears. I'm further along in the Bruce Lee book.
Really?
Yeah. Are you alright?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in the book. It talked about how him and his wife Linda started dating each other in the early 60s. And for the longest time, Linda's mom did not know about the relationship.
Wow.
Bruce would go over to her house and they'd watch soap operas. I think they said either The Guiding Light, or One Life to Live. I forgot which one. And then he'd leave, she'd clean up, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he moves to the Bay Area to start a new school.
Uh-huh. Like a martial arts school?
Yes. It's a karate school, something like that.
Yes.
Before he leaves, Linda gets pregnant with his kid.
Oh.
And 2 months later, Bruce Lee comes back. They're planning to get married.
Yes.
They go down to City Hall to register.
Yes.
I think this is 63.
Yeah.
But what neither of them knew at the time, so they were going to get married, move to the Bay Area, and then contact Linda's mom.
Yeah.
But at the time, I don't know if it's still the case, if you registered to get married, they'd publish the names of those people in the newspaper in the marriage section.
Oh, yeah, I heard. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I mean,
And you had to wait 3 days after you got registered.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, I know that when they have like wedding announcements, right? Mm-hmm. They put those in the newspaper.
Yeah. Yeah. Linda's aunt read the paper a lot. Oh. So one day, like the next morning, Linda's hanging out in her bedroom and her mom comes in freaking out saying, "Is this you?" Oh. Blah, blah, blah. Yes. That Saturday, there was an intervention. The entire family came over and basically scalded her. Wow. And it ended with one relative just cutting her completely out of his life. Wow. Right? Because they didn't want her marrying somebody who was Asian. Whoa. Wow. The next day, Bruce Lee comes over, appeals to the family, and then at one point, Linda's mom just gives up and says, "Okay, just get married in a church." Huh. They did that. Moved to the Bay Area, had their son Brandon. Mm-hmm. He's building a career. Meets a producer who says, "I'm developing this show, and it's about this Asian person who is like a superhero. But the catch is, I'm working on another show called Batman. Oh. And if that show's a hit, I'll be able to make this show. But if Batman flops, then this show isn't going to get off the ground." Okay? Mm-hmm. Batman comes out, it's a huge hit, and Bruce Lee's excited, all that stuff, but the producer contacts him and says, the network said that they're not going to go with a show with an Asian person as the lead. However, I have this other show called The Green Hornet that I'm trying to get off the ground. Mm-hmm. You could play the sidekick Kato. Oh, wow. Okay. He's not very happy, but he accepts it. No, right. He is the lowest paid regular cast member on the show.
This is back in the 60s, right?
This is 1966, I want to say. So
this is around the time of what was going on with the civil rights movement and everything.
Yes, but it was. But if you know your history, there was talk of everybody, but it was primarily focused on black people at the time.
Right, exactly. I would imagine, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
So he's the lowest paid person on staff, doesn't realize this. The show goes for a year and ends. Luckily, it was still a network TV show, and back then that carried a lot of clout, so that helped him gain clients, right? There's a lot of interesting stuff in the book. And I know I'm skipping over many things, but...
Well, that would make it even more tempting for people to go and read it.
Yeah, like there's this cool scene where Bruce Lee and his partner rent out this theater in the Bay Area, and he goes and challenges people to one student to a fight.
Wow.
And kind of loses and cheats, and then goes to apologize to the guy, and the guy doesn't want anything to do with him. And he's really divisive in the world of martial arts because he's criticizing all these old forms. So half the people love him and half the people want him killed. It's super interesting. And it talked about his friendship with Steve McQueen and how he eventually bought a house because he became a private instructor. Mm-hmm. And at first he wasn't getting any clients, but a friend of his said, "You're underpricing yourself. And people will buy your services if they think it has an air of exclusivity."
Yes.
And one of the ways to do this is to double your prices.
Wow.
And he did it, and he said that the clients started rolling in after that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And I'm at the point of the book right now. It's 1970, and he's trying to get a movie made with James Coburn, who wants to direct it and star in it.
Oh, wow.
But they're having trouble getting the film off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes. And it talked about his connection to the Sharon Tate murders and, all
really?
this. He was good friends with Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski. Not good friends, but they knew each other. They'd hung out at each other's homes. But he was really good friends with Jay Sebring, I think the guy's name was, who was the hairstylist who got killed during the murders.
Oh, wow.
In fact, yeah. So he has some connections there. Oh. It's it's a great book. It's a lot of fun.
Wow.
And very knowledgeable because I knew who Bruce Lee was growing up.
Yes.
But I wasn't a fanatic.
Yeah, I think and I told you that I saw like a movie about him, but I don't think that they did it justice because there's probably some things that we didn't even know about. Mm-hmm. I mean, at the time I thought that that's all we knew, and that he died very young and had a young son, and I didn't know how many kids he had.
He had a daughter.
A daughter, okay.
Yeah. Did you know that Bruce Lee had a surgery to have one of his testicles removed?
Why?
Okay, so this is how he got out of going to Vietnam. Check this out.
Okay.
He was of draft age in the early 60s. So if you come to this country, and even if you didn't back then, you still had to register for the drafts and going for the medical thing.
Yeah.
He had one testicle that didn't distend. So when
it didn't extend?
It didn't descend. So when you're born, your testicles aren't in your nutsack yet, and they have to drop.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. And they usually drop when you're a little kid. Both of mine did, but one of his didn't.
Well, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. You're learning something new every day, babes.
Apparently.
And if your testicle doesn't drop, there's a good chance that you're going to develop testicular cancer.
Oh, that's interesting. So it didn't extend.
It didn't drop.
It didn't drop. Okay.
Yes. Extend, descend.
It's extend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 6 years later, he decides to get his testicle removed.
Wow.
And that was kind of even now I just want to grab my junk and make sure everything's there.
Wow.
Isn't it interesting, babes, that whenever guys, myself included, hear about something going wrong with somebody else's testicles, we always feel like a weird tins in that area and have to make sure everything's going okay?
Well, it's with anything, right? If you hear about somebody getting hurt down there in that area, whether it's a woman or a man, it's like, ooh, I better go check. Yeah.
Oh, so that even goes with women.
Well, yeah, it sounds painful. It's like, let me go make sure that, let me make sure that everything is still there. And
yeah, but if I hear somebody talking about a leg injury, I don't have to check on my legs.
No, I think it's different when you're talking about, reproductive stuff or, sex organs. Yes. I think it's different because they're more sensitive and, they're supposed to be working properly.
Yes.
And I think that's different.
Yeah. But it's a very good book.
Yes.
I am thinking, Pilgrim.
Okay.
About reading either a book on Jimmy Stewart or John Wayne next.
Oh, that's good.
After seeing them both in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Oh, you know what? We should talk about this. You wanted to show me a funny... Well, we both thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah, the PSA.
It was about lung cancer.
So, back in 1964, John Wayne, at the height of his fame, was diagnosed with lung cancer. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a John Wayne fan, but to his credit, he opened up about it like a month or two later. He was honest.
Right.
And that could have really hurt his career.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe about 7 years after that, he does a PSA for the American Cancer Society, which you can find online. I decided to show it to Alana because he likes PSAs.
I don't like PSAs. Some are really scary.
You have told me that you've gone down the YouTube rabbit hole before.
Well, I wanted to see if there were was anything there that I remember, and I'm like, ooh, I'm not gonna see that again.
I told you that his PSA is like very different because it's funny and it's also kind of like rough. You don't expect most PSAs to be like aggro male PSAs, but this one kind of was.
Well, because he was riding. They show him riding on a horse, beating people up.
Yes.
I was just finishing my 199th picture.
Feeling better than ever when I was nagged into getting a checkup. They found a spot
on my lung.
Turned out to be lung cancer. Another couple of weeks, I would have been gone. This is me 7 years after getting diagnosed with cancer, and it shows him fighting and riding his horse.
It's like talk to someone you like about getting a checkup. Nag someone you love about getting a checkup. I was like, oh my goodness, but he's a rugged guy,
I actually think a PSA like that is probably more effective than let's freak out the kids who are up late at night.
Yes, actually being honest. Now you showed me something funny on SNL, and I don't think SNL's that funny anymore. But
I don't think it's been that funny since I was in high school, if even that.
Yes, we know.
Yes.
Anyway. So, and you showed me, I wanted to see a Wilford Brimley thing that John Goodman did.
Because I keep telling you that John Goodman did a funny parody of Wilford Brimley on SNL. We found it. What did you think?
I thought it was so funny. It's like, actually, I don't have diabetes, but the doctors say that I look like someone who might have it. I was like, yeah, and he's like, it's like and as for exercise, the only exercise I've been doing is moving fast enough to make a baby. And even that, I took short breaks.
Yes. After we're done shooting this commercial, I'm going to get onto a smaller horse. And then onto a small dog. And then onto a large dog. And then sort of to slide my way off.
And then he said something like, when I talk about watching my diet, I watch the van from the barbecue place drop a bunch of pork ribs on the driveway. But he was a big guy, though.
John Goodman is still a big guy.
He's still a big guy, so that... Yeah, it was really funny.
I wonder what Wilford Brimley thought about that.
I don't know. Well, if he had a sense of humor, he'd be laughing.
True.
I thought it was really funny. Did you see did you see that sketch that Adam Sandler did called Cajun Man?
I heard about it.
I thought it was kind of funny.
It was all right. I just said it was all right. I haven't seen it. The Denise show ones were great.
Denise, why are you not calling me? I just want to love you. Let me love you. Hey, this is Denise's father. Well, anyway, thank you. Welcome to the Denise Show.
Yes.
And of course, we like coffee talk.
Coffee talk. Yeah. But the Wilford Brimley thing was really great.
Wait, but did he do like a couple of sketches about that, or just one?
I think he may have just done one. It's possible he did a couple because John Goodman hosted Saturday Night Live, I think something like 10 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Wow.
It was a lot of fun there. Jaylo.
Yes. I actually saw one episode of Saturday Night Live where Taylor Swift hosted it. There were some funny things in there. It wasn't too bad, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was interesting.
There's something I don't understand, and actually now that I'm saying it, maybe it makes a little bit of sense. when they'll have a musician host the show,
yes,
they won't be the musical act on it.
I don't get that either.
I think the logic is that it's so hard to host Saturday Night Live because you're changing costumes that it would just be an added layer of responsibility to have to worry about a sound check.
Yeah, because the musician that's hosting, whoever it is, has to introduce another musician. So that makes a lot of sense, actually.
I know that Katy Perry is a divisive figure in our lives.
Yes.
Mine especially.
Well, it's not divisive to me because I don't really like her stuff. So
Yes.
I could care less about Katy Perry, honestly.
You know that I have very mixed emotions about her for good reason.
Yes.
But when she hosted Saturday Night Live, I saw this 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if she was any good or not, and I think I only watched the first part of it, not because of my feelings towards her, but because I'm not into SNL, but I don't know why I was watching it.
Right.
I know it was so long ago that I was living in Colorado at the time. But there was another musical act on there, and I remember thinking how weird that is that you have this big pop star on your show.
And she's not performing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That I never thought of it until you actually said it. I'm like, you know what? That's true.
Yes.
That is true.
Yes.
Yes, but I don't watch SNL anymore.
No.
Yeah, it just isn't funny.
It's not about funny babes.
No.
Mm-mm. Jaylo.
Yes.
We did watch something or two things last night.
Yes.
Besides for Wilford Brimley and John Wayne PSAs.
Yes.
We watched, for movies, The Foreign Correspondent and The Big Sleep.
Yes. Unfortunately, I was very tired and I was very much trying to stay awake for the beginning of the movie. So part of it I did miss. What
was really funny is at one point we're watching The Foreign Correspondent and I fell asleep for like a minute and Alana wakes me up and then immediately goes back to bed.
Well, I thought I was awake.
Oh.
Yeah. I really did. I was like, hey, wait a minute. If you're gonna one of us to be awake, and I was trying very, very hard, but my eyes were getting very heavy.
You're like, hey, get up, okay, so I can go to sleep.
No, that wasn't supposed to happen. I was supposed to be awake, and you were supposed to be awake, but that just didn't happen that way.
I believe you slept more than I did. So would you like me to talk about the Foreign Correspondent, and then you can talk about The Big Sleep?
The Big Sleep, yeah.
Starts out, there is a newspaper, and this movie came out in 1940.
1940, I'm sorry.
1940. Yep. They're thinking about they need a new foreign correspondent. So they pull in this guy whose name is...
I cannot remember what the guy's name is.
That's why I keep you around.
But he changed, they had to change his name.
Yes, and they're like, you're going to go to London. It's going to be cool, bro. And
they changed it to Johnny Jones.
Yes. So Johnny Jones goes overseas, is excited, is being shown around. And at one point, him and his colleague are walking outside. Somebody gets murdered. They find out that there's this head of this crime ring, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to make this a short explanation too.
Yeah.
Or recap, rather.
Yes.
And they don't know who it is, but now they're concerned that, they might be targeted because they witnessed this and they're newspapermen. Mm-hmm. So Johnny Jones almost gets killed a couple of times.
Yep.
There is a woman there that he starts to fall in love with.
Yes.
They connect after all these weird incidents.
Yes, they do.
And finally, Jones puts it together that her dad is the head of the crime ring.
Yes. Yes.
He gets the dad to kind of surrender and say, okay, we're going to go back to America and then you're going to be extradited back to London. But first we got to take you there.
Yeah.
So they're on the plane and we skipped over a ton of stuff.
We did because there's a lot of details, but most of it.
We want you to see the movie. It's not that I'm forgetting everything.
Yes.
And it gets attacked. Mm-hmm. So it starts falling and falling. Eventually it hits the ocean. People struggle to get out of the plane in time.
Right.
They get rescued by an American ship. the main lady, her dad dies because of all this, right?
Yes.
Johnny Jones is not supposed to send any stories to America while he's on the ship because they don't want it interfering with America's involvement with the war. Mm-hmm. It's very creative. He calls up his boss at the newspaper, and says, I'm going to put the phone down. Whatever you do, don't hang up. Mm-hmm. The captain comes in and he starts telling the story. Story gets praised. Mm-hmm. Johnny Jones returns to England with the girl and is invited to appear on this radio broadcast. Mm-hmm. As it's starting, London is being bombed. So the radio host leaves to go to the bunker. He's there with the girl and reciting his piece as the movie ends. Mm-hmm. It was a very interesting movie to see on July 3rd.
Yes. And I have to say that I did not know that the Star Spangled Banner would be playing at the end of it.
It felt like, in some ways, a propaganda piece, but it's directed by Hitchcock, so it has this like weird pull and push to it.
Yes.
I liked it though. Mm-hmm. It's not my favorite movie of his, but it was enjoyable.
I'd at least give it a 7. Mm-hmm. And I think partly because I wasn't up for part of it, and yeah.
Do you want to fill in any details about this movie?
No. No, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't.
Well, let's do some brief character analysis then.
Okay.
What does Johnny Jones teach us about ambition?
Well, he's definitely an ambitious man if he was going to go through all that to get a story, including change his name.
Not only that, but he's continuing to broadcast while bombs are falling around him.
Right. Absolutely.
Do you think that his form of ambition is good?
Well, in some ways it is, because he's willing to get a good story out of it. But at the same time, how, are you willing to should you risk your life just to get the story, and to win the woman you love?
One could make the argument that is what a reporter is supposed to do. Right, if they are a good reporter, yes. Mm-hmm.
If they are a good reporter. There are reporters that are willing to go to communist countries like North Korea to get their story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is true. If you are a good reporter, you will do whatever you can to get the story.
Yes.
And make it a good story.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. What does this film teach us about war?
You mean like with the bombing of the planes and everything?
No, it's just that, but with all the intrigue between the crime ring and, the bombing.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff. I don't know how to answer that. What do you think?
I don't know. That's why I asked you. I don't have an answer.
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that at all. Don't know. That is just, that is something that's, quote unquote, above my pay grade.
Okay.
Nice.
What does this movie teach us about love?
I would do anything. No. But I won't do that. Song by Meatloaf.
Okay.
I
prefer turkey. Sorry, go ahead.
And I would do anything for love.
Go ahead, babes.
Anyway, I guess people that are some people that are in love with someone, Johnny Jones, that we're talking about. I suppose a guy like him, if he since he loved that woman so much, he was willing to do anything to show it.
That's an interesting take.
Yes.
I would say it's a little bit deeper if you look at her.
Yeah.
Because she's willing to let this man kind of disperse is disperse the right word? No, that's not even a word. Ruin the reputation of her father because she's in love.
Yeah, disperse is a different word.
Okay.
But ruin, I think you're right. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because she she admits, yes, he what did she say about her father? She still loved her father even though he did ruin his reputation. I forgot what she said. Something about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to say about this movie?
I don't think so.
I don't know if we did this film justice, but it is worth watching.
I think anyone that is really interested in war and crime and also Alfred Hitchcock should watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yes.
I think it deserves at least a 7.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Yes. Babes.
Yes.
Tell me about The Big Sleep.
The Big Sleep was interesting. It's another crime-ridden show.
Noir.
Crime-ridden noir.
Directed by Howard Hawks.
Very good director.
Yes.
What movies did he also direct?
I like you say very good director. What do you make?
No. I just want you to list the movies that he directed.
I'll name 2 of them that we've seen. His Girl Friday and Bringing Up Baby.
Yes.
And I believe Quentin Tarantino said that Howard Hawks was his favorite director.
And which is very much understood. This one was a really good movie.
Yeah.
So, Philip Marlowe is a detective. He changes. I forgot what his name was. I know his last name was supposed to be Riley when he had to change his identity because he was investigating a case about this man that's missing named Sean Regan. Feel free to fill in any more details if you want to.
Okay. He's actually helping the family with controversy with the youngest daughter.
Yes.
Right. But their regular private detective, Sean Regan, has gone missing, and everybody in the family really liked him. So he's trying to just figure out this case. Mm-hmm. And it kind of like unfolds like an onion. There are all these layers beneath it.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
He runs into Mrs. Rutledge, who doesn't seem very happy to see him.
And Mrs. Rutledge is Lauren Bacall, who is assuming the oldest daughter of the guy who hired Humphrey Bogart.
We don't know her first name. I think it might have been Vivian or something. Mm-hmm. The father who hired Philip Marlowe was saying, "Well, I have 2 daughters. One of them is good, but the other one is very wild." He has run-ins with the youngest daughter, Carmen.
She's the one who's being blackmailed.
In fact, she was the first daughter that he ran into, and she pretty much tried to throw herself at him.
Yes.
She tried to sit on my lap when I was standing up. That was kind of funny.
Yes.
She's being looked at because she's got a severe alcohol problem. And she's been doing that to other people, throwing herself at other men. There's a lot of things going on.
Do you want me to help out a little bit?
Yes, tell them about the bookstore.
Well, he goes into this bookstore looking for books, but that comes up later.
It does come up later.
He finds the youngest daughter at somebody's house, and there's a dead guy there. So he returns her to the house and basically tells Lauren Bacall, okay, look over your sister. Don't ask any questions about what happened tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. Eventually, Lauren Bacall comes to see him because she got a picture of her younger sister, right? And it's implied that there's more pictures of her out there.
Yep.
Assumably involved in a murder.
Mm-hmm.
So she says, okay, I'm going to go see what's up with this. There's a really cool exchange where Humphrey Bogart goes into this apartment. He has a gun on the blackmailers. Lauren Bacall is there. He gets the pictures and goes. Mm-hmm. Lauren Bacall and him have dinner later on in the movie. And he says, well, I still can't put everything together, but it feels like there's more to this than meets the eye. She says, as far as we're concerned, the case is closed. Mm-hmm. She wins $28,000 at a roulette table. Mm-hmm. Okay. goes into the parking lot because Humphrey Bogart is supposed to take her home.
Yeah.
And this actually might be a little bit later in the movie.
Yeah.
But it's
okay.
It's still relevant.
It's okay.
Okay. Humphrey Bogart is hiding behind some cars because he thinks he's being followed.
Mm-hmm.
Person tries to steal the money from Lauren Bacall. Bogart comes in and saves the day.
Yep.
Riding back, and he says, "You don't have $28,000 in that bag that guy was trying to steal from you.
Right.
I think you and the owner of the casino are laundering money."
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Drops her home. Babes, would you like to continue?
I'll try. So he has this idea that they're laundering money. Meanwhile, what was that place where he caught the bookstore, Agnes, the bookstore lady, and Carmen, and then Mrs. Rutledge ended up at the same place.
That was the standoff thing that I was just talking about, where he got the pictures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is when Mr. Geiger, who's the bookstore owner, this is after he was found murdered.
Yes.
All right. So he's, there's so many things to the story.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
And I kind of go like, what?
What?
That's the way I felt. Like, they're introducing this detail and this detail. It's like, at some point you just want to watch a movie.
Yeah. But so he is trying to gather a lot of evidence. He thinks that the bookstore lady is a part of it. And there was this shootout of what's his name? Joe Brody. Yes, Joe Brody was shot, but they found that Joe Brody was not a part of it, and he killed an innocent guy.
So he has a friend on the... Do you want me to wrap up the story kind of quickly?
Yes.
He has a friend on the police force, and we find out that his wife, Carmen, was involved with killing Sean.
And Sean Regan. So Carmen was the youngest sister. Yes.
Oh, Carmen's the youngest sister, so he was married to the youngest sister then.
Yes, that's Carmen.
Oh, okay.
That's Carmen.
Okay.
She's a wild one.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I didn't know that she was married. Okay.
I didn't know she was married. Did you say she was married?
Remember, he calls in his friend who's the police chief.
Yes.
He calls him and he says, "Your wife was involved with this murder. And I'm going to have you go out because I know that even though I got your gun, you probably got 2 or 3 other people out there that you told to fire at the first person who walks outside." So he fires at the police guy. The police guy runs out and says, "Don't shoot, it's me," but he gets killed.
Yes.
And then Bogart calls another friend of his on the force and says,
"Yes,
hey, come and get me and be careful because there's probably still some guys outside."
Yeah.
Embraces Lauren Bacall, and that's basically the end of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, but I liked it.
It is confusing, but I liked it. I would give it an 8, even though it was hard to follow everything because it was such a... You're right. It was like an onion.
Yes.
Layers and layers of it.
What does Humphrey Bogart in this movie teach us about being meticulous?
Well, he was meticulous, yes, but even he got some things wrong.
But do you think he would have gotten out of this situation alive had he not been so willing to pay attention to all these little details?
Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was a good thing that he was willing to pay attention to everybody in this, but he also shot people that were innocent as well.
Did he?
Well, no, I mean, Joe Brody was... Well, remember, Joe Brody was shot.
Okay.
And the other guy was.
Yes.
So they ended up both not being involved.
Oh.
Remember?
I thought Joe Brody was involved. Maybe he was. I don't know.
No, he wasn't.
Okay. I'll take your word for it, babes.
No, he didn't kill Sean Regan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there any questions about this movie that you want to ask me?
What did you think about Mrs. Rutledge and all of this? Because she admitted to Philip that she was a part of it, but it ended up not being her because she was blackmailed.
She was blackmailed. Yeah, I don't know what to think about her, honestly.
Yeah. Because I thought she might have been a part of it, but it turns out that her sister was.
Her sister was. Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. I think that she loved her sister and she was being blackmailed, so she did what she could.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what else there is to say about this movie, honestly. Partially that's because I was a little bit confused.
I was confused.
And I realized that as we're doing the recap, like, oh, maybe I got some details wrong.
That's okay. We were both a little confused, but it was still a really good movie.
Yeah, it's worth watching.
It was hard to follow, though, because there's so many people involved.
Here's another question for you.
Okay.
Well, two, what are you doing right now?
Oh, I'm just unraveling my earphones.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, go on.
Does this movie, His Girl Friday, and Bringing Up Baby make you want to watch more movies from Howard Hawks?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
I agree.
He has proven to be a very good director in the 3 movies that we watched.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, wow, but Bringing Up Baby, I mean, we talked about this before, but how was he able to, because they were taking care of, what was it, a monkey?
No, it was like a tiger.
Oh, a tiger, yeah. I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
How were they able to, how was he able to get a real live tiger on set?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy.
It was crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about this movie?
No, go watch more. Go watch more Howard Hawks movies.
Yes.
They're good stuff.
Yes. Are there any other things you want to discuss, babes?
It took a while for me to get to sleep, but when I did, I slept really good.
Yeah, you were moving around a lot.
Yeah, I was. I coughed.
Yes, you farted.
Oh.
And
so
immediately what happened was...
So did you.
I don't think that I did.
Yes, you did.
Immediately what happened was, I'm not even paying attention. Alana farts and she says, I'm sorry I farted. I heard you fart earlier.
I did.
Yes.
Before
I can even process anything, you're like, and you farted earlier.
You did. It didn't sound like a burp to me. And by the way, that was something I really wasn't expecting because I was coughing and then,
But immediately you're deflecting towards me. I'm sorry I farted, comma, you farted earlier. In one sentence, you go from saying you did something wrong to deflecting on me.
Yes, but I wanted to let you know that you did.
Well, I don't think I did.
And it was like, yeah.
I think you have a very active imagination.
No, you actually did. You did.
Oh, I did.
You did.
I don't think so, babes.
Yes, you did.
Yes. Yes.
But when I finally fell asleep, I slept very good.
Well, good. Yeah, we woke up a lot earlier than you usually do.
Well, yes. It's been a while that I woke up on a Sunday before 8.
Yes.
But, it was good.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Anything else you want to say, babes?
I don't think so. I didn't have any dreams, did you?
No, I did, but they left my mind as soon as I woke up.
It probably wasn't important then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, babes, I think we should do a little kissing, and then...
Really?
And then maybe you kick me out.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, it's 10:51.
Wow, really? I thought it was
shit.
already after 11.
Wow. Yes.
But we didn't wait till 9 o'clock, so.
No, yeah, that's true. Yes. Anything else, babes, or are we good?
Good.
Good. All right.
Good.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.